Oh man, I hope you're having a wonderful morning. It is April 30th, 2025, the end of April and the end of the 100 days. And oh man, in dramatic fashion, we are already down about 1.5%. In dramatic fashion, we are already down about 1.5%.
I don't even know where I am right now.
We are already down about... Okay, I thought I had like 3 videos up, but yeah, man, we're already moving a lot here, and it's off of the GDP, the PCE. There was comments from Trump yesterday about Powell and everything else, and there was a huge carousel of news yesterday. So if you missed yesterday's watch list, I really encourage you to watch it. We went over a lot of different things. We recapped all of the major themes and everything in between with earnings, but now... we're going to see what happens here. You are just on literally one of the best rallies since 2022. Even April could be the best rally in history, but the data today, the GDP came in lower. That was your first negative GDP print in about, I think, 3 years. And they even changed some of this stuff with gold, which I thought was actually pretty fascinating. But when it's all said and done, we got a big day. And if it's already moving like this right now, we talked about it yesterday, the earnings and kind of front-loading all of the action for Thursday and Friday. So it's going to be a weird one here on Wednesday, but it should be exciting. And Chad, I hope you're ready for all of it. I'll be here with you. But good morning. What up, Wise? I saw you bright and early. Humble Business, Tim Women, Energy, Lucky Soldier, Mark, Anzo, Dos, Marcus, Brian, Laker, J. Good morning, baby. What up, Payon? PSC, Corneric, J. Biz, Dystopia, my man. What up, Mr. Hanlon? What up, Michael? How you doing, John Wayne? Mo El Adrian, Jerry Woods, y'all. Good morning. Open face sandwich. Kurt McGurk, El Chapado, Diaz, Zach, Alex Ezzo, Zuraj, Alyssa Baker. Man, Alyssa, I be seeing Alyssa every morning, bro. She be grinding on real estate. She waking up bright and early. Y'all don't stop it. What about the Twitch? Slizzin, Blue 42, Stock Sasquatch, B Reezy, Feed Me Seymour, Payday Devo, Dio, Roach Vince, Jamie, Horse PhD, Blizzy B, Blazing Bob, Pie Guy, and Robo Hand Tech, baby. Good morning. So, Chattadonia, I hope y'all feeling good. I hope you're feeling blessed. And welcome to the middle of the week, and let's have a good one. And here's Josh AI with the news. Boop. Stock futures slip in build up to big tech earnings. S&P 500 futures slipped before key U.S. economic data, while companies reporting earnings were short on reassurances about the future. Contracts on the S&P and NASDAQ 100 declined following a 6-day rally as more companies withdraw their guidance. Supermicro Computer Inc. slid 18% in pre-market trading ahead of earnings from mega-cap tech companies such as Microsoft Corp. and Meta Platforms Inc. Economic barometers of U.S. economic health are also due with inflation and gross domestic product data Wednesday. That will give a snapshot of activity just before President Donald Trump unleashed country-specific levies on April 2nd. U.S. real GDP growth likely cooled to a standstill in the first quarter amid disruptions from policy shifts. It did come down slightly, first negative print in years, but Josh made this AI before the release, but I still know what's up. How you let little Egyptian boy run it up, get a long term. Investors have been cautiously optimistic. The NASDAQ 100 is close to erasing all of its losses this month after tariff U-turns and speculation. The Federal Reserve will cut interest rates to prevent a recession. Perhaps we are past peak uncertainty. Kim Crawford, global rates portfolio manager at JP Morgan Asset Management, told Bloomberg TV the administration has a more conciliatory tone on tariffs and to an extent as well, Fed independence. Benchmark 10-year Treasury steadied after 6 days of gains with the yield at 4.15%. Gold dropped. 4 of the so-called Magnificent Seven, Microsoft, Apple Inc., Meta, and Amazon.com Inc., are reporting earnings this week. Analysts expect the group, which also includes Google parent Alphabet Inc., and Tesla Inc., and NVIDIA Corp. So to deliver an average of 15% profit growth in 2025, a forecast that's barely budged since the start of March, despite the flare-up in trade tensions. Even if you take out the tariff story outcome, I think there is an issue for big tech, and the market will probably start to refocus on that when we get this earnings season. Christopher Wood, global head of equity strategy at Jefferies, told Bloomberg TV, "We still have the issue of the massive amount of capex being spent on big tech. They're overspending on this AI story. In the latest pivot in Trump's trade strategy, the U.S. president signed an executive order easing the impact of his auto tariffs, preventing duties on foreign-made vehicles from stacking on top of other levies, and lessening charges on parts from overseas used to make vehicles in the U.S." The news supported sentiment toward European auto stocks Wednesday, with Mercedes-Benz Group AG and Stellantis NV rising, even after withdrawing their outlooks for this year, citing the uncertainty of trade barriers. Corporate highlights: Seagate Technology Holdings PLC shares jumped in pre-market trading after the computer hardware and storage company reported third-quarter earnings and revenue that beat the average analyst estimate. Snap Inc. narrowly beat analyst estimates for first-quarter revenue, but declined to issue a sales forecast for the current period. Caterpillar rose as much as 2.2% in pre-market trading, even as it cautioned on sales this year if tariffs continue and the economy dips into a recession in the second half. Grab Holdings Limited raised its full-year earnings forecast after quarterly sales beat estimates, a sign the online arena may prove a rare bright spot in a region rattled by trade tensions. UBS Group AG's markets unit posted a record performance as geopolitical turmoil spurs volatility that the bank says is set to continue. Societe Generale SA beat analysts' estimates for profit and revenue in the first quarter as it benefited from a surge in equities trading and booked a gain on disposals. Volkswagen AG's earnings dropped by 40% in the first quarter as higher manufacturing costs cut into margins and U.S. tariffs clouded the German car maker's outlook. Mayday, mayday. An age-old market maxim looms over the bounce in U.S. stocks: sell in May and go away. Although Josh tells you every year how much of a fallacy this is, Bloomberg will never waste the opportunity to trap a weak mind. One of the best-known market trends, the sell in May effect, is backed by decades of historical performance. Investing in a fund that debuted in 1993 and tracks the S&P 500 during the May-October period yielded a cumulative return of 171% compared to a 731% gain for November-April. An analysis from Bespoke Investment Group found the pattern last held from November 2023 to October 2024. Seasonality is among a multitude of factors investors are crunching to get a read on how stocks might behave in coming weeks, even as their faith in many once reliable indicators has been shaken by the unpredictability of President Donald Trump's tariff policies. Taken alone, the old adage would argue against hopping on a searing rebound that has seen the S&P 500 recover 12% from its lows of the month. The index is still down 5.5% year to date. The scales are tipped in favor of the May sellers this year, said Tyler Ritchie, co-editor at Sevens Report Research, adding that the risks are skewed toward the S&P 500 suffering another big decline next month. Europe's trading desk score gains in midst of Trump tumult. Europe's traders joined their Wall Street rivals in handing banks some of their best revenue hauls in years as President Donald Trump's tumultuous trade policies rocked markets in recent months. UBS Group AG said Wednesday its markets unit generated a record $2.5 billion in the first 3 months of the year, while Barclays PLC stock traders recorded their best quarter since 2022. Societe Generale SA said it saw a surge in equities trading revenue during the period, and earlier this week, Deutsche Bank AG's touted that it was the best ever start to the year for its traders. And Trump bashes Powell Powell touts tariffs at rally marking 100 days. President Donald Trump renewed criticism of Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell as he championed his economic policies and tariff regime during a Tuesday event to mark his 100th day in office. Inflation is basically down and interest rates came down despite the fact that I have a Fed person who's not really doing a good job, Trump said at a rally just outside of Detroit, Michigan. The president's denunciation came even though earlier this month he said he did not plan to fire the central bank chief despite persistent criticism of the Fed's pace of interest rate cuts. Uncertainty around Powell's fate jolted markets, compounding investor fears about Trump's tariff plans. You're not supposed to criticize the Fed, Trump said. You're supposed to let him do his own thing, but I know much more than he does about interest rates. China manufacturing slumps on U.S. levies, spurring stimulus calls. China's factory activity slipped into the worst contraction since December 2023, revealing early damage from Donald Trump's tariffs and prompting calls for a speedy policy boost. The official manufacturing purchasing managers index fell more than expected to 49 from 50.5 in March. The National Bureau of Statistics said Wednesday the non-manufacturing measure showed activity in construction and services grew less than forecast. The indicators offer a gloomy first official look at the health of China's economy after the Trump administration imposed sweeping tariffs of 145% on Chinese products, a level expected to hurt a sector that contributed to nearly a third of the economy's growth last year. It's definitely worse than expected. It shows tariffs started to bite. Robin Xing, chief China economist at Morgan Stanley, said he forecast a significant economic slowdown this quarter that could trigger more stimulus. Tariffs trade. Trump signs orders to ease impact of auto tariffs through credits and relief on material levies. Axios, BBG, New York Times. China creates list of U.S. products exempt from its 125% tariffs and is notifying companies about it. Reuters. Trump says China will absorb tariffs, disputes predictions of hard economic times. ABC News, BBG. Trump's top economic advisor failed to reassure bond investors about tariff strategy. FT. Lutnick says trade deal agreed to with unnamed county. Announcement to follow parliamentary approval. CNBC. Lutnick has argued for tariff exceptions, but has also pressured firms to invest more in America. NY Times. Walmart rejected idea that it would apply an itemized surcharge to purchases to account for Trump's increased tariffs. Axios. The GOP senators say USTR Greer reassured them trade deals coming within weeks. Politico. West Coast ports prepare for China tariffs to dent import volumes with a matter of days. NY Times. U.S. toy retailers warn of Christmas shortages with orders on pause as tariffs work through supply chains. NY Times. Besant talks up prospects of agreements with India and South Korea. Notes substantial talks held with Japan. CNBC. Axios. European Commission planning retaliatory tariffs if U.S. trade talks fail. FT. Besant says EU must deal with internal matters before trade talks. Digital services tax and impediment. BBG. Besant says China's failure to uphold Phase 1 trade deal commitments will factor into new agreement. Fox Business. Besant says U.S. tariffs could seize up to 10 Chinese job losses. Fox Business. Trump plans to hold call with Australia after Canberra raised objections to tariffs. BBG. Corporate. Wave of U.S. and European companies withdrawing guidance due economic uncertainty. New advertising campaigns by major companies urge shoppers to buy now before U.S.
Trump
tariffs
comments
raise
coming
price.
out too.
FT.
Right now.
Growing worries that a trade war could suffocate small U.S. businesses that rely on China imports. FT. Huawei has begun delivering its AI chip to Chinese clients, cut off from NVIDIA. FT. TSMC has started building a third chip plant in Arizona amid U.S. tariff threats. BBG. DOJ's Google antitrust case concludes with focus on generative AI. BBG. Microsoft touts fresh Europe investment to steady transatlantic tensions. FT. Reuters. Meta launches standalone AI app in latest challenge to OpenAI's ChatGPT. Supermicrocomputer negatively pre-announces on delayed customer orders. BBG. CNBC. Snap withholds sales guidance due to economic headwinds and related impact on advertising demand. BBG. CNBC. Starbucks same-store sales miss as turnaround time frame extended. BBG. CNBC. Visa beats forecasts amid payment volume growth, emphasizes resilient business model in current environment. BBG. Reuters. Apple reorganizing its global affairs and music divisions in latest changes. BBG. Samsung chip earnings impacted by export controls, though some support from China customers pulling forward orders. BBG. UBS reports lower Q1 net profit, but exceeds analyst forecasts amid economic uncertainty. Reuters. CNBC. Volkswagen reports significant drop in Q1 profit and expects lower guidance. CNBC. Mercedes-Benz and Stellantis scrap guidance amid tariff chaos hurting the auto sector. BBG. Societe Generale beats profit and revenue estimates in Q1, benefiting from equities trading. Reuters. BBG. Barclays Q1 profit rose 19% due to increased investment banking revenue. Reuters. CNBC. Glencore expects lower commodity marketing profits this year amid fading volatility. BBG. GSK posts higher profits driven by strong cancer treatment sales, offsetting lower vaccine demand. Aston Martin limiting U.S. exports to mitigate tariff impacts and reported a narrower Q1 loss. Reuters. Markets. Hegde funds continue to favor shorting U.S. stocks, adding bets to Japan and Europe. BBG. Capital flight from Wall Street hits Europe via surging euro as investors seek new tariff-proof pockets. Reuters. Options trader dials up $18 million. BetFed will remain on hold through 2025. BBG. U.S. deal-making down under Trump 2.0 so far, but accelerating in other parts of the world. Yahoo Finance. Economy. Surge in U.S. trade deficit prompts predictions. GDP contracted in Q1. FT. Reuters. China manufacturing activity returns to contraction as tariffs went into effect. BBG. Reuters. Chinese travelers are expected to spend a record $968 billion on mainland trips this year. BBG. China delays releasing trade flow statistics as firms reduce exports to the U.S. BBG. Eurozone Q1 GDP surprises on the upside due to stockpiling of goods. BBG. Australian inflation rebounds, but May rate cut expectations intact. BBG. Reuters. Japan industrial production contracts amid decline in autos, electronics. Retail sales firm. BBG. Reuters. Central banks. Trump resumes criticisms of Fed Chair Powell's performance during Michigan rally. BBG. Washington. Trump administration pressing Congress to dramatically expand the number of business-friendly tax cuts in a budget bill. Axios. Republican lawmakers meeting with House Speaker Johnson to discuss increasing the $10K cap on SALT deduction. BBG. New internal GOP polling shows Republicans will have to be careful with how they message on any changes to Medicaid. Axios. Trump celebrated economic wins, criticized Democrats at Michigan rally, marking his first 100 days in office. Washington Post. Axios. Trump says fraud allegedly uncovered by Doge referred to the DOJ for criminal investigation. BBG. A Reuters Ipsos poll finds Trump's approval rating steady, but discontent with his handling of the economy is rising. Reuters. Geopolitics. The Trump administration planning change to AI chip export controls that would give U.S. more leverage. Reuters. Putin demanding control of Ukraine regions Russia doesn't fully occupy, leaving ceasefire negotiations at an impasse. BBG. Ukraine. Zelensky at Pope's funeral urged Trump to take a tougher line with Putin and reprioritize ceasefire. Axios. PM Modi gives military full freedom to decide mode, timing, and target of India's response to a recent terror attack. Economic Times, BBG, Don't Be an Undisciplined Wicked Servant, IAS, CNN and Bloomberg hate you because they don't want you to see the love in the world. Fuck them all. Get a long term. Thank you for listening.
That's that wasn't supposed to be in there, bro. Sorry, that was other morning thoughts.
S&P futures, they're down by 1.4 Wednesday morning, near worst pre-market levels after the latest economic data. Comes after U.S. equities finished higher on Tuesday, with the S&P up for a sixth straight session and pulling out correction territory. Multis, specialty chemicals, GLP-1, staples, software, REITs, travel, and leisure among the best performers. Treasuries mostly weaker, with the curve steepening, reversing the earlier strength. Dollars up by 0.1, gold is down by 0.7, and Bitcoin is down by 0.8, with oil down 1.4. Today's downside, tab to some stagflationary takeaways from latest economic data released. GDP fell into contraction territory for the first time since 2022, though early reads noted underlying trends may not be as bad as headline, given big net export impact. However, focus on hotter inflationary backdrop, with market now pricing in a slightly more hawkish Fed rate path through year-end following the data release. Tariff remains a key headwind and big driver of heightened macro uncertainty, while worries about Fed independence are not going away after Trump's renewed criticism of Powell on Tuesday. A lot of concern about the potential spillover from already soft survey sentiment reports to the hard data, particularly given the complexity of trying to get so many deals done in such a tight time frame. However, market has supported recently from the select tariff de-escalation, better than expected Q1 earnings season, tariff mitigation efforts have been well received, and positioning dynamics. ADP private payroll, 62,000 miss, lowest since July. Education and health and info and professional services all fell on net. Pay trends mixed, with job changes slightly higher, but 4.5% pay growth for job stayers, down smallest since June 21. ADP out ahead of April employment report, looking for a number of 130 in the NARM farms, following a 228,000 gain. First look at GDP, contracted down by 0.3, worse than street consensus of a 0.3.4 increase. Personal consumption of 1.8, better than expected, though down from Q4 4%. GDP price index of 3.5, hotter than estimates, up 1.2. Core PCE up by 3.5, hotter than expected, up from Q4 2.6. March personnel spending a bit higher than expected. Personal income in line. Q1 employment cost index up by 0.9, a bit cooler than expected. And March core PCE cooler than expected on both month over month and year over year. Treasury refunding of $125 billion in line with estimates. They said they will not change auction size for coming quarter, evaluating potential enhancements to the buyback program. Visa beat and reaffirmed guidance, said consumer spending remains resilient. Booking Q1 strong, but did flag macro uncertainty, and CC25 guide came in slightly at midpoint. Caterpillar guidance a bright spot, including smaller tariff impact than expected. Starbucks miss. Street talk longer turnaround timeframe, but turnaround traction a bright spot. Mondelez helped by reiteration of full year guide despite cocoa cost pressure. GRMN margins weaker, cut full year EPS. Humana lower MLR was the bright spot. GEHC organic growth surprise to the upside, driven by imaging. PPG beat and noted continual favorable demand and maintained full-year guide. SMCI pressured by negative pre-announcement. STX up big on margin-driven beat and visibility. Snap did not formally guide for Q2 due to macro uncertainty. First Solar missed and lowered full-year guide on tariffs. And NCLH flagged weaker 12-month forward booking position. Wow. So, yeah, we got to hurry up a little bit. Honestly, all the pre-market movers, I'm just going to go over the ones that are not earnings. So, again, there is a lot of them here today. So, literally, WDC, STX, GEHC. I think all of these are there except for NTAP. They're up 1.5 on a Barclays upgrade. Again, ODD, Fresh, Cuervo. And do I still have it up? But if you guys remember yesterday's video, that chart, I compared some of them in the morning. So, you should go and do that right now. And you could kind of see some of the companies with high positioning, they just moved in line still. So you didn't really get too crazy of beats, but make sure you compare some of these if you are interested in what we were doing last night. So that's something I noticed here, and I was going through them, but a lot of earnings, no crazy ones. RGLS up 130, Novartis to acquire for $7 a share, Weight Watchers up 23, NTRB is up 14, CEO publishes letter to shareholders, SMCI down 18 on earnings, Snap down 13, First Solar down 12, APP down 10, Carvana down 1.3, amends extension of floor plan facility agreements with Ally Financial. Nike downgraded Wells Fargo. PCAR downgraded at JP Morgan. KWeb or China stocks are moving. Then VSCO downgrade. Energy and metal and miners trading lower. IMUX phase 2 caliper trial failure. Wow. So Chatadonia. Wow. We have a lot. I got some plays and other stuff to go over. Oh, yeah, but something's more important than all of it. Uh-oh. Oh.
I think I'm about to freeze. Uh-oh, I thought I was really about to freeze right there. Oh, man. So, yes, I'm glad it didn't freeze. And here at the Cult, baby, before we do anything, before we try to chase the dollar, man, we must pay homage to a very special group of people that has made a sacrifice that most of us never have and ever will. And I am talking about the veterans of the United States of America. So on behalf of the Cult, man, for everybody who has served, the people here, people not here, man, we are very, very grateful for you. And I truly hope every single one of you could bring this into real life. Every single day, we are benefiting off of this freedom. We live our lives, and it's so easy for it to go unnoticed. And literally, man, you have people fighting wars that they may not even agree with. I don't know if y'all realize, you know how many things we have done, and I would be such a shame if we didn't honor those who gave it their all and they had good intentions, even if their leaders didn't, bro. I don't know if y'all feel me. So veterans, I love y'all. Thank you guys for everything, your families, all the sacrifices you made. If anybody should be getting a long-term in a crib, bro, it should be you. You have served this country, bro. It should serve you, my friends. So God bless all of you, and thank you, and big shout out to anybody else out there giving back to their local communities, doctors, nurses, teachers, firefighters, police officers, the janitors, the coaches, the garbage men, anybody making their community run, baby. God bless you, and thank you. But ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Place your right hand over your heart. Say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, baby. Oh, it's game time, baby. Oh, no. Shout out to Vets, baby. Let's go. Game time. Trump case on Warner and CBS. So, again, he been posted on Truth Social this morning. So, Chattadonia, we only got 2 minutes. Let's go. We got to hurry up. We got to hurry on over. We got to scurry. We got to scurry on over. So here it is. I love you. We want to be here without the vets. Don't ever forget that. God bless America, baby. Let's have a good middle of the week. I will see you in Gen Pop. Thank you for being here, and enjoy the rest of your morning.